Well, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, it is moving day. Silicon Dojo is moving on up. We are leaving the incredibly small office space for the not so small office space. I'm very excited about this. So the concept of Silicon Dojo, really what I want the heart of Silicon Dojo to be, is the hands-on experience, coming in, building things, doing labs, that type of thing. And the issue is my initial office that I've rented is just too small for that. One of the important things you have to understand with business, if you want to be good with sales, is you actually have to believe in your product. You actually want to sell your product. And the problem that I have with my very small office space here is I don't really want that many other people in this room. It gets a little clam bakey. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it, but it gets a little bit tight in here. So the idea of having 4 or 5 people in here for an entire afternoon along with me just seems kind of miserable, right? So I started off with a space, and the really cool thing is that there's a different office in the exact same building, so I've been able to swap over to that different office that is much larger in size. Now, if we take a look at this particular office, we can see this is about what 270 square feet looks like. So that is my big old Hisense display. Here is my whiteboard. Here's a little demo area. And then over here, you can put 4 or 5 seats. But again, it gets a little tight in here. One of the things to be thinking about, again, when we talk about politics in the real world, some people ask, well, Eli, then why did you rent a space this small to begin with 3.5 months ago? And the reason is because 3.5 months ago when I rented this space, we still had the mask mandates. And so the thing is, I can't really do presentations very well with a mask on. Now, to be clear, I'm vaccinated. I am not anti-mask. It's just if you want to have me talk for hours on end, having a mask on really sucks. And so we had the mask mandates, right? The mask mandates were here. And so what I looked at, I didn't figure the mask mandates would leave until August. So it's like, you know what? Let me rent a small space to prove to the world that I am actually doing something, to be able to bring people in, to be able to show them what I mean by the world famous parts bin, right? Actually doing something has a value. So it's like, I will do the minimum required, basically, to be able to show people what I'm doing. And then my thought was, by the time the 6-month lease runs out, maybe by then the mask mandates and all that would be gone, and then I could move to a larger space. Of course, how the politicians are doing things, the scientific way the politicians are doing things, 3 weeks after I rented this space, the mask mandates disappeared. Because science? I don't know. And now that I'm moving to the bigger space, the mask mandates are coming back. Because science? Anyways, this is an important thing to understand. Like, a lot of people get frustrated when I talk about politics or whatever on my videos. And again, I don't care what side of the equation you're on. I'm not getting into that. What I'm trying to show you is how politics really do matter. Again, when you have business people that are signing contracts, years-long contracts. Again, a lease is a legally binding contract. When you sign a legally binding contract for an amount of time, you are bound to pay the amount of money for the lease. So if the government is doing whatever the hell the government is doing, then that can run you into a lot of issues. So anyway, this is our little 270 square foot space. I really like the windows. I do have to say I'm going to miss the beautiful windows and the beautiful view. The one thing, though, is we have a lot of fire trucks that go by, and this being Asheville, there's a park over there, and we have a lot of buskers. So when you hear a lot of that extraneous noise in my videos, that is coming through the beautiful windows. Again, another thing to be thinking about with a business is, is something a pro or a con, or is it both? I love my windows, I love my view, but because of that, we get fire trucks and we get buskers and everything else. Is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? Anyways, okay, so with that, let us go take a look at our new office, what our new office will be. We haven't moved in yet, so we just get to walk down the hall. So we walk down the hall. So if you're coming to Silicon Dojo, it's a little bit more of a walk. Go down the hall, go down the hall, go down the hall, take a left, go down the hall, go down the hall, go down the hall, go down the hall, go down the hall. And we are the last door at the end of the hall. So here we are, at suite number E. And we come in here and look at all this glorious space. So I don't know, this is somewhere between 500 to 600 square feet. If you have followed Lewis for any amount of time, you know real estate math is, it's more of an opinion than an actual math or whatever. But anyways, look at all of this space here. So we have all of this space. And what's great is, right, so I think I'll probably put the presentation area up there so people can be all the way back here watching the presentation. So I do feel like in this kind of space, we can probably have 20 people relatively comfortably here, which will be absolutely awesome. And then over here, what every real business needs is we have our server room. So I have a little room. I don't know, I'll shove in a NAS device. I'll put a switch and a NAS device in here so I can have my server room. So I have this nice little server room. One of the nice parts is I can lock valuable things up. So when other people are using my space for meetups, I can lock the valuable things in there so I don't really have to worry about them walking away. And then the sad part is with the next thing that I'm gonna show you, I find it to be so hilarious. It is just an amazing, apparently very inside joke. So why I really feel like the next thing that I'm going to show you is awesome for Silicon Dojo is, again, I've taken a lot of martial arts over the years, Kempo, Hapkido, Aikido, Taekwondo, and the whole 9 yards. And one of the things that I always find very interesting with martial arts, senseis, is, these guys are badasses. They can kill you 20 ways from Sunday. And many times when you go into their dojo area, it's very nice, it's very cool, it has all the equipment, it's very clean, right? It looks how it's supposed to look. But then, what's always really funny is that there's always like this weird little office in the back. There's this weird little office in the back where you go into this weird little office and then you see this person you have so much respect for, and they're like sitting at a crappy little table, and they have like huge piles of paperwork around them, and then they're sitting there screaming about the telephone bill because the telephone bill is twice what it was supposed to be for the month. And I just find that to be a hilarious thing. like this is the most amusing thing for me with this office because it's such a component of the dojo world. We're out here, you'll have robots, and you have a big screen TV, and you'll have all kinds of stuff going on. And then I'll have my little office, with a bunch of paperwork or stuff stacked up, and I'll be sitting there screaming about Google AdWords or something. It's sad. I've been showing people this office, and like very few people around here have actually taken martial arts, so apparently none of them get that joke. I'm like, this is awesome. This is so dojo-ish. It's dojo-ish without even meaning to be dojo-ish. And everybody's like, we don't know what you're talking about. So anyways, this is the new office. I really like it. We do still have windows. We have one less window. So we have 3 windows instead of 4, because that's a column. We don't have as nice a view, let's be honest, don't have nice a view, but that's the road we look down on. So that's mainly a pedestrian road. Now, sometimes, FedEx trucks or sometimes people drive down it, but really it's just a pedestrian road. So you don't get a lot of noise in general from it. You sure as hell don't get any fire trucks. Let's just say if a fire truck comes down this road, I'm going to have bigger problems than the noise because they're probably coming into this building. So the nice part is, we still have the windows. One of the things I really like is carpet. And I actually don't mind this carpet. I need to vacuum this carpet. I don't know. People have been giving me crap about carpet for some reason. I like carpet, especially doing what I do where I speak a lot, because it does suck up ambient noise. And so you don't get as much echo as you do in a place that isn't carpeted. Now, some people have been like, but what about the static, Eli? What about the static electricity? Here's the thing. Again, way back when I was a certified Army electronics repair person, I actually had to go through classes on electrostatic discharge. It wasn't just like one little piece of paper I had to read. Here's the thing, I'm not sure what the hell happened. I'm not sure. So back in the day, they actually said that having commercial carpet was better than having linoleum. So not shag carpet, to be clear. You don't want shag carpet because shag carpet is very easy to build up static electricity. But basically, back then at least, what they said is with plain old linoleum, Somehow you didn't realize it, but linoleum could actually build up far more static electricity, and so you didn't notice it as often. But when you actually did have a discharge, it was usually much more severe, much more likely to damage things. And so back in the day, they actually argued for commercial grade carpet. And so, again, it's that whole thing, fight how you train. Again, this is an important lesson in life, right? For all the young people out there, here's the reality. You are still going to be fighting the exact same way you learned how to fight when you're 18. So if you get trained by good people, you'll probably won't get your ass whipped when you're 40. If you get bad information, all bets are off. But anyway, so I was trained that this is okay. And honestly, having done electronics and having done computers for 20 some odd years now, longer than some of you people have literally been alive. I haven't had an issue with this. My store, when we did Mac repairs and we ripped things apart, we had carpet in much of the store. We didn't really have any big static problems. So it doesn't seem to be a big issue. Again, you have to remember with electronics, like from when I was young, electronics used to be much, much more fragile, the electronics themselves. But again, it's been 30 years. They know how to build electronics nowadays so that they're not as susceptible to electrostatic discharge. So I don't think it's gonna be an issue. Could be wrong. We might fry all the Arduino boards, but as they say, I've got 99 problems. I really don't believe electrostatic discharge is the highest on the list. If you are worried about electrostatic discharge in the real world, it's actually humidity. Humidity is one of the things that really helps for electrostatic discharge. Here, being in the Asheville area, we have a decent amount of humidity. So I think that's the big thing. If you have the appropriate humidity or a decent amount of humidity, you don't have to worry about ESD quite so much. So that's my thought there. We do have nicer ceiling tiles. I don't care. Apparently the ceiling tiles really bothered a lot of viewers. Again, I got 99 problems. What my ceiling tiles look like, not the highest thing. I'm gonna have to decide whether I'm gonna be painting. This is where there was a temporary wall, so there's a temporary wall that went across here, and so they removed that temporary wall for me. But in pure like real estate fashion, they didn't even vacuum. How did they remove the wall? It's not even that they didn't paint. I get it. Okay, you're not going to paint when you remove the wall. Really? You couldn't have run a vacuum over it? So anyways, we probably are going to paint this some kind of color at some point. Maybe. But here's one thing to be thinking about before I go, is one of the things I want with Silicon Dojo is I want this to be highly replicatable. And one of the concepts of being highly replicatable is I don't actually want this to be too nice. I don't want it to be too pretty, because if it's too nice and too pretty, people will not feel like they'll be able to replicate this in their environment. Somebody coming from Mogadishu, if this is all nice and state of the art, they're gonna be like, well, this is great, but I can't do this in Mogadishu. Where one of the things I think about is if I kind of keep this low rent, I don't redo the walls. I don't redo a lot of nice things. That makes all of this much more approachable. So if you're from Mogadishu, if you're from Charleston, West Virginia, if you're from the middle of Wyoming, if you're from wherever, and you walk in, you're like, oh, Eli's able to do this in not the biggest room in the world and not the nicest room in the world. I can probably do this where I'm at. So that's one of my thoughts. I don't know. We might do paint. We might not. 99 problems. It's probably like the 50th one. It's not the bottom of the list, but also not at the top. And the other cool thing I found here, I'll probably have to go in a second, is they actually have Skyrunner. So they have, see this Ubiquiti wireless access point? So they were actually having Skyrunner here. So I might actually be able to get better internet service in this particular room. So right now I have AT&T DSL, 12 megabits per second down, 0.7 up. So hopefully with Skyrunner, I can get Skyrunner, I'll get some good bandwidth. So anyways, this is the new and improved office space. I will be moving into here later this afternoon. So if you come to the Asheville area, make sure to drop by and learn how to play with Arduinos or whatnot. Anywho, with that, I've actually got to go and tape the video class for today.